get some iced tea, and just relax. Just relax.
Walk with us as we escort you to safety, experience, and the adventure of a lifetime.
Adventure of a lifetime. That's us. We'll It's always an adventure when you're questing with us. So, we try hard, really, experience and that adventure. Today, our gamer entitlement. Beep. Sometimes, gamers act like total jerks. They actually say, gamers seem to feel like they're entitlement jerks. Okay, entitlement douches, entitlement whatever. Okay, really good thing that came up was the fact that CD Projekt Red with their Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed, and they started getting hate, Twitter or whatever it was, right? How people are so mad that they were delaying the game and death threats and whatever. Right? I'll bet you most, but people are just laying into them. The anonymousness involved. It feels as if wondering gamers entitlement jerks. Also, it plays into the fact that I was listening to the Massively OP podcast with Justin, and one of the questions that were asked of them was, has any game developer ever approached you guys to help them out? I hire you to help them out, whether it's like writing or development of the game itself, pathways or community work. And it was interesting in the fact that they're like, you don't know. They're in the press part of things, right? Somehow people have this feeling that you can become a game designer, your life is just roses, like gloriousness. You don't know anything. Well, it's not like it's perfectly the greatest job in the world. You can play your own game you want to, right? Or people who play the same game or developing the same game over years we get tired of games. So it feels like the gamers feel like entitlement jerks. So I don't know. Guys, what do you think? Do you think gamers are entitled jerks, or are they just like everybody else when it comes to the world out there?
I would start by saying that I think it's easy to think that because that's what we, especially us three, who are gamers ourselves and podcasters, and we are in that industry, so to speak. It's what we see. We see it every day. However, although during COVID this isn't happening that much because we're not getting to eat in restaurants terribly much, although some states have opened up. Mine hasn't. But I would say it's a societal thing. I think I don't want to rag on the younger generations and sound like that guy, get off my lawn type. But at the same time, I'll give an example. Just using podcasting. When I first started doing podcasts, if I was ever late, because the way that I used to do it is every Thursday, I would release the episode at 3 p.m. Pacific time, Thursday. Whenever I would have an episode that I had some little hiccup with the software I was using, or I was ill, or my child was ill, or I had gone on vacation or whatever and had to be a little bit late, I never had anybody, nothing but love. All the way from 2000 to 2015 or so, I would say. It seemed like after that, things started changing. And more, I started seeing, I never really got death threats, but I started getting people who were like, hey, it's not up yet. What's going on? And this is free. Like, this is a free podcast we're talking about here. Nobody was paying. There were people that donated. And I would have kind of not really. I would have still been agitated by it, but I would have kind of understood people that were financially invested into it saying, "Hey, where's it? Where's the show?" But when you're getting it absolutely free, it just boggles me. And it got to the point, especially the last couple of years, people seem to just not. First of all, they don't understand the work that's going into it. And again, this ties right back into gaming. People don't understand the work that goes into it at all. They think that it's much easier than it truly is, and they want everything instantly and don't understand why they can't get it instantly. And it just boggles my mind. I can't really, honestly, I can't wrap my head around that at all. And I've seen it again. I was alluding to earlier in restaurants before COVID hit, and we couldn't go in. You know, people would buy their food, and my gosh, even when the meal only took 5 or 10 minutes, people are like complaining, like, where's my steak? Well, dude, a steak of potatoes takes time to cook. You just ordered it 10 minutes ago. Do you really want it raw? And the thing is, when you really explain it to them, you're like, well, okay, first of all, do you want them preparing it before you get there? So do you want something that they throw in the microwave? They cook it in the morning, and then when you order it, they toss it in the microwave for 5 minutes and give you a microwave steak? Or do you want it fresh? Well, I want it fresh, of course. I'm paying 15, $20 for it. Well, then you gotta wait. It takes time. It's the same thing with games, guys. It takes time, and it takes hundreds. I mean, yes, there's games out there that there's just 1, 2, 3 person teams. I know. But we're talking about MMOs here right now, and they take time. And there's, it would be a fantastic world if you didn't have coding errors that mess things up, or all the. I won't even go through them because that's just going to take too long for my section. But there's things that y'all just don't know how these things work, and you just need to be patient. I understand uh, a little bit of. I can kind of sympathize with you if you've put money into it, like I did with Star Citizen. I can get it, and people that put in pre-orders and whatnot and have the pre-order get pushed back. We just had that with Shadowlands, got pushed back. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'd rather that they did that and that we got a good working game that was enjoyable for not just me, but all my friends and family who are playing as well. And we just need to be more understanding. We need to be more patient, and we definitely need to be more kind, because these guys and gals that are working on these games, they're just like you and me. They're just normal people, that work hours and hours a week. Uh, some, and especially during crunch times, that they're working 7 days a week. I'm not kidding to you at all. These guys and gals at Blizzard have been working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day to get this game out to you so you can enjoy it during the holiday season. And, they're not getting paid super great, especially the ones down here in Southern California. Cost of living, I don't think I need to tell you, it's not great. But I don't want to say it's a generational thing, because I have some, younger folks that I'm, friendly with, that they're pretty cool, they're understanding, but man, I don't know what's happened, guys. Everyone needs to just get some iced tea and just relax. Just relax.
As you were talking, the realization was, I don't think it's generation. I just think it is societal. I think it's that we
Yeah.
see the good and bad eggs everywhere. It's like, where in my company, people complain about the engineers, like, whatever, okay. there are good and bad engineers. I mean, people have engineers complain about another group in a company. I'm like, do you know people over there? There are good and bad people there too. Everywhere you go, you find it. So that's an interesting thought about the fact that I think the patience and the lack of patience has been there for a long, long time, and it's not generational. It's just in gamers, it's just a microcosm of it. Maybe we just see it because we're more closer to the actual game, so therefore we just don't understand. So, what do you think, Solomon? What are your thoughts about this whole thing?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys said, but I think also at the same time, not all social media platforms are created equal. People dislike Facebook for different reasons than Twitter. And I think I would argue a lot of the reasons why we see such entitlement, yeah, it comes from Twitter. I'm just gonna straight up just say it. It's all Twitter. Twitter for whatever reason is a different beast. It's a different animal compared to the other social media platforms. It seems to whatever for whatever reason attract one of the more undesirable, I guess, characteristics within people, in my opinion, more so than Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok for that matter. So yeah, it. I think the entitlement is definitely real, but it just depends on where you look, for sure. And yeah, I think there are times when people have a legitimate reason to be angry. For example, if you were a backer for Chronicles of Illyria, for one example. And you could even add Star Citizen to that list too. I don't disagree with that. It's been taking a really long time, but then again, the vision that Robert has for the game that he wants to put is very ambitious. I would argue it's never been done before, and so you kind of have to give him some time, considering he's not making just another, MMORPG that does your run of the mill stuff like World of Warcraft and things like that. So there's definitely needs to be a balance. There definitely needs to be an understanding on both sides. But yeah, but the minute you threaten people's lives, even if it is a joke, that's when you lose all credibility and respect in my book.
Right.
So yeah, I can't wait for Steam or Cyberpunk to come out. But then again, like if they need more time, they need more time. Like they they don't owe us anything. Like even if you pay them money, like somebody had to take the risk of setting up the company, had to get investors, had to raise the capital, had to hire the people, and now they have people dependent on their on the company that they create. And so I mean, if you're very that adamant about the product making games, then it's kind of a cold answer, but then go do it yourself. So yeah.
No, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, both of you have made very good points. I think it's human nature. It looks like humans haven't changed since the day they were created or evolved. However you want to look at it, and it's like the temperament of humans is poor. Patience is lacking, which is one thing. Like patience is a virtue. We try to get better at patience. When you're a father or a husband or you have to have more patience with things. I've grown more patience, even though I still lack it too. It's well, and like what Jazio said earlier was like we said it before on multiple other shows. We want a game that's good. We're willing to wait for the good game. We don't want a thing rushed out and all of a sudden we're like, what the crap is this? And then we get the people on the other side going, what did you do this for? Why did you release a game that's full of bugs and da da da? Like, well, you wanted it on time. Well, I wanted it to be good. Well, you were complaining about being late. Well, I wanted it good. Ken is still not to the level as the other guys. I got to work on my why I'm so much softer. Okay. Anyway, so I hope we escorted you to where you needed to go. So that was that. Check out the further adventures of Kennethan by liking and subscribing and watching me live on twitch.tv/Kennethan.